Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another Women of Horror Spotlight. Today I have with us, she's an author. She has two new books out right now, and the first one is called The Body as Haunted, and the second one is called Nature's Triumph. I have with us Pixie Bruner. Pixie, welcome to the Horror Room.
Thank you so much, Travis. It's an honor to be here.
It's an absolute pleasure having you on. Now, tell us a little bit about The Body as Haunted.
The Body is Haunted is my first full-length poetry collection, and it was published on Angela Yuriko Smith's Authortunities Press, which is a collaborative publishing experiment. And it was released on my 52nd birthday, 4/4/24, cover art by Gemma Files. And it collects over 30 years of spoken word pieces and poetry on the theme of being a woman and how our bodies are haunted by our experiences, being an orphan, my late parents, the ghosts that I carry in me from my life, from my experience having lived, and from surviving cancer. That is also a ghost of my previous self that I carry around in me.
And this is a powerful book. I mean, you're putting a lot of personal experiences in this book.
Thank you.
And you're also putting a lot of experiences that I feel like a lot of women can relate to.
Absolutely. There are universal themes. I got really offended when I heard the phrase body count. Because when I'm watching a slasher movie or a horror movie, I'm doing a body count. And I'm going 1, 2, just like in, oh God, I forgot what movie it was. But it was a classic, the one that actually had the body count. It was hilarious. Richard Belzer as the breather. Oh God, I forget what. It's a classic campy horror movie. And they actually have the body count every time someone dies. And I'm going, wait, women have body counts now? Only if they don't hide the bodies well enough. And so I wrote a poem dealing with that theme. And as a cervical cancer survivor and an HPV education and patient advocate, I absolutely had to deal with the whole body count by writing a poem about a female serial killer to end the stigma against women who have a body count. Also, hide your bodies and never admit it. Kill better.
Okay, when you say body count, women have a body count. Do you mean a sexual body count or actual physical, like killing?
People joke that a woman's sexual experience is her body count. Unless she's a sniper or an assassin, it's not a body count. I'm sorry. So I went there in a poem going, you know, these are all people I've killed in this poem. I imagine scenarios. You know, these are all people who've ever said, you'd be thinner. If you were thinner, you wouldn't be single. If you were nicer. I can't help that I have a resting bitch face. And, you know, all of the horrible things that people, men and women, because I am bisexual, have said to me over the years. And I decided fictionally to kill them off in a poem, and it was the most fun laughing at dismemberment Linda Addison has ever had.
See, I did not know that women were critiqued. Well, I knew women were critiqued for the amount of sexual partners, but I did not know.
Yes, it's called our body count now. That's the latest slang, and it is so offensive.
Because I've heard men, as a man, we brag about our body count. That was a term that we use as a bragging term. But I did not know that was used on women as well.
It's used to diss women. She's high mileage. She has a high body count.
Okay. Yes. I've heard that. Yes.
And I decided to come back with every tool and method of dismemberment I could imagine.
Why do you think in society women are judged for their body count, quote unquote, or how many sexual partners they've had?
I have no idea because it doesn't make us less or better of a person.
Mhm.
It doesn't affect our daily life. And by the time everyone is 30, 90% of all people have HPV. It's only the high risk strains that cause cancer and you have to be careful of.
Yeah.
So it's a very human experience, but the high body count is scary. I think it intimidates men because then they know that this woman knows what she likes and they have to step up. So they fear a woman with any body count. They want a Stepford woman who it is only them and they are the king, even if they're doing nothing.
So, but here's my thing. I don't share my body count. I'm going to stop using the word body
I
count.
will never say mine.
I don't share my body count. And God forbid, I do not want to know my woman's body count. I just don't want to know. I just don't want to know. So, like, that's something I would never ask a woman. Yeah, because that's something I don't want to know. I mean,
as a woman, I've been asked by men I'm not even intimate with, just starting to date. How many partners I've had, and I'm like, it's none of your business because it doesn't affect you.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. To be honest, that is your past. So your past,
exactly.
Your past.
This person I'm with is my now. This is all that matters. Exactly. And that's what this poem is you'd be blank if you blank is about. I tackle a lot of stigmas and stuff that women go through.
Give me another stigma that you cover that women go through.
Oh God. Well, there's I tackle trigger warnings very hard. I tell people if they can't handle it, they have to self-regulate and they can click the X. You are responsible for your own reactions. You cannot blame the writer, the film. You have control. You can click X. You can close the book.
I agree.
You must be responsible for yourself. You can't scream and blame and, well, how did I know that you were afraid of mayonnaise? I'm so sorry I put mayonnaise or whatever. I don't know. Whatever random trigger. So, I actually open it with like a 5-page spoken word poem transcribed of every possible thing that could trigger warning everybody. And go, I'm giving you one trigger warning. Life. That's it.
Yeah.
So I go after that stigma. I don't believe anything is sacred. I think the only way we can understand things is by what sacred and profane is a line. By blurring that line, we grow, we learn, and we find out what makes us uncomfortable by going to those dark, profane places.
Like Pixie, for me, like I'm pretty open on my show about a lot of things, especially about myself. Now I don't talk about my family and stuff like that. I keep that separate. I talk a lot about myself. I do not have any trigger warnings, and I've dealt with some. I've dealt with some traumatic fucking shit. I've seen some traumatic fucking shit.
I am a survivor.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been to third world countries, was seeing some awful shit that no one would ever want to see, and and even working in the film industry, I've seen horrible stuff worse than any damn horror movie you ever see. But like, I don't have any trigger warnings. I mean, I have traumas like everybody else do, but I don't have no trigger warnings. And even when it comes to entertainment or art, I don't get offended.
Yes, I saw your To Be Tuesday this week where you talk about there were extreme rapes and they actually made you uncomfortable, and usually you can handle that. But the abuse in that movie made you uncomfortable, but you were aware of it and regulated your own emotion and response. You leaned into that discomfort and got through it rather than I'm not going to deal with this because it bothers me too much.
Exactly.
That's where being a self-aware, mature human is about. You can go through it and deal with it.
And the movie you're talking about, the reason why I think I don't
Blank
like rape.
face.
Yes, plain face. But the reason why, and I don't like rape and watching rape in any
Neither do I. No one likes rape unless they're
fucking sick in the head.
yeah.
But I think the reason why it disturbed me so much because it was a man getting raped, and like
You don't see that often, although it does happen.
no,
It does happen, and it doesn't get shown.
yeah, and it was women raping a man, and I never saw that before. And I even said it in the review. I said most men would be like, "Oh, that sounds fun." No, it does not. Fun.
Yeah.
And there's nothing fun or sexual or hot about this. I mean, it
No.
was awful.
It's about power and abuse and dehumanization. And I also talk about another stigma dealing with rape. I'm a survivor. You can be a victim or you can be a survivor. There is a mindset. And it took me therapy for many years to adopt the survivor mindset versus the victim mindset. And I speak about it openly in my book and my poetry.
And what's the difference between what would you say the difference between a survivor and a victim is?
The survivor owns their body. They forgive themselves. They know that what they were wearing, what happened to them is not the whole sum of who they are. And they have worked through the pain, the anger, the rage, the shame, and have reclaimed themselves and have decided, no, I am not someone who was raped. I am a survivor of sexual assault. The person who did it, I put them behind jail. I put them behind bars. I pressed charges, and I have no regrets. But it was very, very painful, very hard, and not everyone can do that. And not everyone has the ability to even do that because they may not know the perpetrator. But the victim mindset gets locked in the fight or flight, and they lock down, and they allow that pain and anger and hatred to eat them alive and subsume them until it becomes the way they see everything. They stop being able to see the beauty and wonder and work past it. There is a life. There is a life after assault. There is a life after abuse. It's hard. It's worth working for them. It really is.
And I mean, this is coming from a man. Like I would say, I don't think a lot of people know how many women in this country have either been sexually assaulted or raped. And I would say, I've said it before, probably 80 to 85% of women I ever had contact with in a relationship status has been either raped or sexually assaulted. And I kind of get what you're saying because some of those women use that as that experience. How can I say this? They use that experience leads to them self-destructing themselves.
It becomes who they are. It becomes not just an act or a thing that happened to them. It becomes their identity.
Yes.
And you are more than what happened to you.
Correct.
You are more. And that's part of the survivor mindset versus the victim mentality.
Now, was it tough for you to sit down and write these poems?
To tell you the truth, no. I've been writing since I was 12 and getting published since 14, so 40 years of writing. And I've blogged and had a very popular live journal that still exists somewhere on LiveJournal with like still 200 and something subscribers, even though I've been updated since 2012. And I'm able to write about anything. As long as it's true, I will write about it. As long as it's something that I think is worth discussing, or something that I think is interesting, because I write horror and I write dark sci-fi poetry. I do dark speculative genres, and while I am fearless, I hope others might read my book and become braver and more fearless, because their voices matter, and their truth and their vulnerability is their strength. No matter who you are, man, woman, non-binary, your vulnerability is where your strength comes from. I learned that from Jamal Hodge, and it was just reinforcing what I had learned over the years. So yeah, it was kind of hard, but not really.
Pixie, I don't know if I said this much before. Do you want to know what my biggest fear in life is? It's not dying, because I see death all the time. I'm not afraid to die. And it's not being alone. My biggest fear is going to prison. Like, there's something about prison. Like, I've had friends, I would say every single relative I've had, I mean, every cousin I've ever had has been in prison or dead. And so, and I hear the stories about prison. I've seen them. Prison absolutely terrifies me. That's something I would never, ever want to experience. And, like, it's crazy because if you know me, I am fascinated with watching stuff about prison and jails, like real life documentaries. So I'm interested in my fear.
That's why I love horror. It's a way
Yes.
to safely explore it, to work through it. Doesn't always get rid of it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a way to exposure therapy, if you will, as well as I don't like this. This freaks me the fuck out. But I'm going to face it in a controlled environment, and if it gets too much, I can tap the hell out.
Now, do you pay attention to reviews and criticism online or no when it comes to your books?
I love it, and I do them for books I read too, yes.
Okay. I mean, even like the bad ones?
I will write honest reviews, and I will point out what I think the strengths and the weaknesses are. I will find strengths generally in almost everything. And if I find weaknesses, and if it really sucked, I'll be honest it didn't work for me.
And that's the best way to be. I mean, you were talking about my Tubi Tuesday reviews. Like, I think I pissed a couple of filmmakers off because they asked me to review their movie, and I'm like, ugh, I don't like reviewing people who I'm friendly with. You know what I mean? Because I am not going to hold back. I mean, I'm not going to, just because I like you as a person. If you ask me to review your movie, it's my credibility. You know what I mean? It's 100% my credibility.
I have integrity. I'm going to be honest as a reviewer.
I cannot to my audience say your movie is a 5-star movie and it's a 2-star. I just can't do it, because people.
And you shouldn't.
Yes,
that's why I respect you. I like your reviews. The pros and cons are fair and reasonable.
Yes. And I just don't bash a movie. I give you, hey, there's always something I like about a movie, but sometimes the cons outweigh the pros. But there's always something I like about a movie, except for a movie that I'm reviewing in a couple weeks.
Funniest one I saw was the one about the Hood sex doll.
Oh, Tiffany doll. Yes.
Tiffany doll, yes. I still haven't watched it. It's on my list because of your review. Because I live in Atlanta, so I gotta see this.
But that review, I tell people, I said, people ask me, how did you start interviewing indie horror creators? My show was not an interview show originally. It was a review and horror show. So I did the review of Tiffany doll, and Felissa, I can't think of her last name now. Jeez. Felissa Rivers, I want to say. the filmmaker who actually directed that movie commented on my review.
I saw that.
Yes, and she did not. She was not happy,
No.
and she asked to come on my show to do her interview. And delightful lady. Listen, we laughed, and she even was like, "Okay, I see where you were coming from with some of these negative things. It's true. But this is the reason why this didn't happen, or this is why this looked like this." And like, we had a great interview. I ran into her at a horror convention, and it started this. So I always want to say to Tiffany Doll started this indie horror interview thing.
That's really neat. Yeah, I don't do because I'm a poet and I'm an editor. I freelance edit for Crystal Lake Entertainment. I just edited with Allison Armstrong a book that has Ramsey Campbell, J.G. Faraday, David Kaperska Merkel, Mary Terzillo, all of these award-winning writers, and Ramsey Campbell. And that's coming out on September 3rd on Dark Moon Rising Publications. And my first time doing an anthology editing and not just behind-the-scenes editing. And reviewing is terrifying. I am so scared of those reviews.
Oh.
Although I'm getting emails from people going, "I cried last night," and I'm like, then nature got the upper hand, tentacle, vine, what have you. I did my job as an editor.
Yes.
If people are sending emails, "You made me cry last night."
Yeah.
Yeah, and all proceeds for the Nature Triumphs anthology go to the Nature Conservancy. The co-editors, all of the authors contributed, and the publisher is providing complete transparency where all proceeds are going directly to the Nature Conservancy. It's all a gift for environmental awareness.
Yes.
Extreme horror, splatterpunk, poetry, gonzo, new weird, elegant literary fiction, flash poetry, drabbles, dark sci-fi, grimdark, all of it in one 413-page anthology. 44 authors, 68 pieces. It ate my brain for the last few months. And I just started as an intern at Memento Mori Inc. magazine 2 weeks ago.
So how are you able to do all this, Betsy?
I don't know. I just do.
Red Bull, coffee, what? Drugs?
No drugs.
Okay. I'm joking.
I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Definitely no drugs. Diet soda and coffee. A lot of it.
Oh, that is my joint. So for me, it's coffee. And if for some reason I can't get a coffee, which is rare, I hate drinking them, but I'll do it a Red Bull. So, because I'm up from 6 a.m. to probably 2 o'clock in the morning, sometimes even later. So, like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna fall out with a massive heart attack on these things, but that's what keeps me going because
I hope not, because you really are a delight.
Thank you. I'm not. I'm gonna be around for a long time. It's harder for them. But no, I got to. But like, it's just a lot, and I am one of those busy beaver people like you. I like to always be doing something. So there's not enough time in the day.
Yeah, I got 2 acceptances today, though.
Nice, congrats.
Thank you.
All right,
another moonshot landed.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, all right, so I got to ask you one last question, and this is a controversial question.
Oh, I don't shy away.
So there's been a lot of indie horror authors just randomly dropping different authors' names on social media. I'm not going to say who.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how do you feel when your name is dropped out there?
Oh, I have very complicated feelings about it. As having been a DJ, having worked as an alt erotica model back in the early 2000s, when my name is dropped, I'm like, whatever. Until it gets really personal. And then I'm like, okay. And then it depends on what they're saying. I mean, when someone accuses me of being involved in a murder plot, I'm going to laugh my ass off because I haven't left my living room and my laptop for many months now. And when I'm like, who is this person? I'm literally messaging friends. Who is this person that I'm allegedly involved in a murder plot with? And they're going, oh, this is someone. Well, I've never heard of this person. Oh, well, this is what you need to know about them. Oh, okay, thank you. And I just laugh it off because it's not worth my time. And the person who loves name dropping me the most, seriously delusional. If I was able to actually do what he said I was doing, I would have to be doing coke or speed, and I'd have to be a different person. But if people are Googling me and finding my Amazon bookshelf, I'm not going to really complain because the circles that I run in, it doesn't affect my reputation. I'm a, pardon me, Science Fiction Poetry Association member and HWA member. And in my circles, it hasn't really affected me personally. Because everyone who knows me knows that the person who likes name dropping me tried to use me as a rising star, and I didn't even know I had coattails.
Wow.
And I let that train wreck. I went no contact with a particular train wreck, 6/3/24, and I sent a cease and desist. And they break it every day, and I'm like, at this point, whatever. I don't give a fuck. You can't hurt me. I'm a survivor. And they've ruined their credibility anyway, so
Yeah.
No one takes it seriously. It's
Nobody.
one person's tinfoil hat rage against whatever. And I'm disabled. That's why I'm sitting on the floor. And if he doesn't like what they say, it's ableism. Well, yeah, there is discrimination between disabled people.
Mhm.
But when somebody says, be professional, have ethics, do what you're going to say, what you're going to do, and keep your word, and they don't, it's not being ableist. It's going, have professional ethics and nothing more.
Yes.
That's it. So yeah, name drop me. I don't give a fuck. Bring it on.
Well, Pixie, I'm about to name drop you. Where can everyone find you? In a good way.
You can find me at pixiebruner.substack.com. Pixie, Pixo. It's on the screen.
Right there, boom.
Yeah, I have an Amazon bookshelf. It does not include my White Wolf, Vampire the Masquerade, and Werewolf the Apocalypse books. Those are under Randy Joe Pixie Bruner. And those are for Mind's Eye Theater live action. 2003 was the last one of my White Wolf writing books. So Old World Darkness, I was there. And you can find me on Facebook. You have my name. And I only bite if asked nicely. So please ask.
Pixie, this has been fun having you on. Listen.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad we were able to have this happen. Last time we were interviewing you, all your power went out.
Power outage. 5 hours in the darkness, I lost my salmon.
I bet. Listen, everybody, get over and grab Nature's Triumph. It's going towards the good cause, as well as The Body as Haunted. Everyone, thank you for coming to the Horror Room.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. And that's Pixie Burner. We'll see you next time. Take care.